She stood there, folder in hand, heart pounding, while a table full of investors scrolled their phones, whispered, laughed. Not one made eye contact. Her voice trembled at first, not from fear, but from years of being silenced. The room didn't see her. Until everything changed. 1 month later, those same investors were offering double the valuation, begging her to sign. But she didn't forget. What happened in between? A quiet storm, a broken heart, and a comeback no one saw coming. Because sometimes being underestimated is the greatest weapon you never knew you had. Amara Jackson is a brilliant, yet underrepresented tech innovator from Atlanta. Her journey began in the modest home where she was raised by a single mother who worked 3 jobs just to make ends meet. From a young age, Amara understood the meaning of sacrifice, perseverance, and grit. She witnessed strength in motion every day and quietly absorbed the value of resilience. Determined to create change, she pursued computer science and excelled in her field. Rather than chasing corporate prestige, she built something deeply personal, an artificial intelligence-based platform designed to help underserved communities better manage their finances. For Amara, this was never just about profit, it was always about purpose. She believed that access to financial tools could change lives, and she was determined to build that access herself. She spent months perfecting her pitch deck. She bootstrapped her prototype from scratch, funded by part-time jobs and late-night freelance gigs. Most nights, she stayed awake past 3 a.m., adjusting algorithms, reworking her narrative, and preparing to present her vision with precision. When the day of her first major pitch arrived, she entered the room with quiet confidence. But as she looked around, she saw a table full of wealthy white male investors. Eyes skeptical, body language closed. She stood tall, proud of who she was and what she had built. But even before she spoke, she could feel it. The thick, invisible wall of doubt, bias, and silent dismissal pressing down on her. During her pitch, the investors interrupted Amara mid-sentence. They asked questions they had never asked her male counterparts, questions that felt dismissive rather than constructive. A few smirked. One investor even leaned back and remarked, "Is this just another budgeting app?" Amara held her composure in the room, but as soon as she stepped outside, her vision blurred with tears she struggled to contain. For the first time in years, she began to doubt herself, her abilities, her product, and her place in the industry she once dreamed of changing. Weeks turned into months. Meetings were cancelled. Doors that once seemed slightly open were now firmly shut. Her follow-up emails went unanswered. She received empty promises, vague rejections, and cold silences. Eventually, her savings dried up. She had no choice but to move back into her childhood home. The once vibrant energy she carried was now subdued. She moved through her days in silence, buried in the weight of disappointment. Even her closest friends, well-meaning but unaware of her internal struggle, began to suggest that she should stop chasing dreams and just get a stable job. Amara slipped into a deep depression. Her sense of purpose faded. One night, with her laptop open, she hovered her finger over the delete key, ready to erase all of her code, all of her effort, everything. Then a memory surfaced. Her mother's voice from years ago. "They will not give you a seat at the table, so build your own." That moment shook something inside her. Sitting alone in the dark, the cursor blinking like a heartbeat on the screen, Amara faced her crossroads. Would she walk away quietly, or would she stand up, rewrite her story, and reclaim the power they tried to strip from her? One quiet afternoon, Amara received an unexpected email. It was from a former professor who had always believed in her potential. He had followed her journey from afar and invited her to a small local pitch night being hosted by a collective of diverse founders and early-stage investors. She nearly did not attend. The wounds from her last experience were still raw, and the thought of facing another crowd made her hesitate. But something inside her said, "Go." The event was humble. The room was smaller, the lights dimmer, but the energy was different. This time, people were not distracted. They were listening, truly listening. Among the audience was a black female angel investor who remained after the pitches had ended. She approached Amara, asked direct yet respectful questions, and challenged her thinking in ways that felt empowering rather than diminishing. After a thoughtful pause, she said, "You are building something that matters," and offered Amara $50,000 in seed funding, right then and there. That investor did not stop there. She became Amara's mentor, a guiding force who helped her reshape not just her pitch, but her entire approach to business. She introduced Amara to networks and resources that had previously been closed to her. With that support, Amara rebuilt everything from the ground up. She refined her product, reworked her branding, and focused on clarity and impact. Her story and vision were featured in a niche fintech magazine. Soon after, she shared a single, heartfelt post on LinkedIn, a reflection on failure, resilience, and rebirth. Within hours, her inbox was overflowing with messages. The world, that had once turned its back, was suddenly leaning in, eager to know more. One morning, an unexpected invitation arrived in Amara's inbox. It was from one of the major venture capital firms that had dismissed her during her first pitch, the very same room where she had been interrupted, questioned unfairly, and quietly discarded. This time, Amara entered that room differently. She walked in with confidence, clarity, and undeniable progress. Her product had real traction now. Not millions of users, but a small, fiercely loyal community whose lives were already changing because of her platform. She was no longer just presenting an idea. She was showcasing a living, breathing solution that had already begun to make an impact. She delivered the same pitch, word for word in some parts, but the energy in the room had shifted. The same investors who once barely made eye contact were now leaning in, nodding thoughtfully, taking notes. When she finished, the lead partner smiled and offered 3 times the amount she had originally asked for. Amara did not respond right away. She paused and looked around the room, at the same faces that had once overlooked her without a second thought. Her voice was steady as she said, "You did not hear me the first time. I'm not sure you deserve a second." A heavy silence fell over the room. As she left, one of the senior partners followed her outside and apologized, sincerely, respectfully. But Amara did not say yes that day. Word spread quickly through the startup community. The same woman they had underestimated was now the one setting the terms. The narrative had shifted. Soon, other investors stepped forward, investors who were diverse, inclusive, and aligned with Amara's deeper mission. They did not just offer money, they offered mentorship, infrastructure, and belief. Amara chose an investor who saw her not just as a founder with potential, but as a force with purpose. She accepted the offer that honored her vision, and not one that simply sought to profit from it. In that decision, she reclaimed her power and redefined what success looked like on her own terms. Amara did not just build an app. She built a movement, Today, her company serves over 500,000 users, most of whom belong to the very communities she once came from. She now funds other underrepresented founders, speaks on stages that were once closed to her, and leads not with vengeance, but with vision. Being ignored did not break her, it built her. The silence she once endured has become the story that now echoes in boardrooms. And every young black girl who sees her knows they do not need permission to be powerful. Subscribe to this channel for more powerful, true stories of resilience, quiet revolutions, and the unstoppable spirit of those who refuse to be overlooked.